Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity, and let me be the first to welcome you to Friday. I hope everyone's going to have an absolutely awesome weekend, and I'm up today with my fruity items that we painted yesterday. But I must say I did have one mishap, and that is my cherries. I won't be doing the cherries today because I popped glossy accents on them trying to get a head start, and then I went and put my hands in it and made a right mess. So it's just the strawberries and the pears, so I do apologise for that, but the cherries are wonderful. And to go with what I'm doing today, I'm using my Panalisa Glorious Times paper pack, which is really pretty. I'm using the Panalisa lace borders that I hauled a couple of weeks ago, and I'm also using from my haul the tag. It comes with two sort of like top reinforcers. You can decide where you want your hole, whether top or the bottom. You can have an arch top or an arch bottom, and there's the star and the hole, but I'm using the circle one. And from my own personal stash from many years ago, I do not know if you can still get this. If you can, I will link it below the vid with everything else, but it's this little sentiment here, and it says sweet wishes, and I must have got this 4 years ago, if not 5, but it is one of my all-time favorites. So if I can find it, I will link it. So that's what we're using today. So I'm just going to move those carefully off to the side, and we're going to do a card and a tag. So I've already prepared my card base, and there it is. That lovely sweet girl is the focal point, and for this one I'm going to be using the strawberries that we watercoloured. But first of all, I want to go down, moving my pears there, with a lace border, and I want that to go down on the bottom. I don't care if it goes kind of, you know, slightly off edge, but you do need to be able to stand your card up. Now, a lot of people have said to me, how on earth do you stand your card up? I designed an easel die, and it's usually on my desk, and I'm flicking through everything. Yes, I am, and seeing if I can find it, because that is what I use on the back of all of my cards, and I can't find it, so I must have it by my die cutting machine. But it is a wonderful easel die. It's very plain. It can be cropped down to the shape of your cards once you've stuck it on the back. So if I can find a link to that one, I think MXart is still doing it. I'll link that one too. But I think people are kind of like, well, you've made a card topper. No, I've actually made a card. The easel goes on the back, and then the cards can stand up. Right, so using my lovely new glue again, taking the pin out, where I've just put that lace is exactly where I'm going to stick it. And I have to tell you, I am absolutely loving glue that is sticking and not warping my paper. Put a bit there and a bit there. I may still be using too much of this, I don't know, but I'm quite happy. I'm sliding that across with the results that I'm getting. So right, so down goes our piece of lace, and already, you know, that little girl is looking even prettier. Now I've cut out 2 of my sweet wishes, so I'm going to stick one on top of the other so that it's got a little bit of umphy depth to it. So trying not to put everything all over the place, and I am just like small dotting this now. And I'm pleased to say that since I've had it, which I think, is it a week now or even more than that, my tip hasn't blocked up yet. Maybe I shouldn't curse myself, but I've just put the pin back in, so that's something that I'm trying to do all the time. And now I just want to line this up and stick it down. I mean, look at that. I could never do that before. I'd be constantly pausing and running away while it dried, and then when I came back it would kind of, it would all be curled up. So it's just really lovely to be able to do that. And then I think I want my sentiment to be about there. So first of all, I better bring in the strawberries that I did yesterday, and these are they. And I've got a piece that I'm going to put in there, but it's going down onto my lace first. So I'm just going to put some glue where I think I'm going to need it. And of course, once you've got your colouring done, it's really quick and easy. Just put a little bit there. And I'm going to need... Ooh, I'm trying to think, that's floating off surface. I'm just going to touch those leaves. Put a little bit around that frame so that it goes down flat. And stick my pin back in. Right, so let's get this. I want this pretty central. And I still want to be able to see my lace. So... I'm thinking it's about there. I want it to be straight. So I'm going to squish that down. So I've got my strawberries going on with my lace. Just going to hold that down a second, because I don't want those little pieces to fall out. And then I've got my inner strawberry bit that I am going to put back in. So I'm taking my pin out of that one. And I'm going to stick that down in there. Give it a little squeeze. Isn't that pretty? And if I've got my hands all in view. And then I've got extra strawberries, and I think I'm just going to dot those on there. I don't know if I want the middle in that one, if I just want the frame of it. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the frame of that. So I need some glue onto that one. So I'm just touching those leaves again because I don't want them to pop out. Right, I think I put rather large big blobs of glue there, but never mind. And I'm going to go off at an angle, stick it there. And then I'm going to go just slightly over the top of that with a solid. So I'm keeping a frame. What are you all going to be up to this weekend? I mean, as usual, you know, I'm just going to be in the garden, praying for rain. That's what I could do. I could go out and do a rain dance. Husband will probably have me locked up. But it's been extremely hot here. I think the hottest we've had so far has been 117 on the heat index, and it was I think 111 yesterday. So you know, you've got to be really careful in the heat. And because I've cut this out twice, I don't need to pop it up on foam because it's already got that, you know, that lovely height in it already. Just using heavyweight cardstock. Right, so plenty of glue went down onto there. I'm going to flip that over. And I want to get it on straight, so I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Kind of coming away from her face slightly, because then it's almost like she's saying it. And that is the finished little card. See if we can get a close up. There we go. Isn't she sweet? I love those strawberries. And as I was saying yesterday, you know, you can cut those in solid colours, or you can just splash them around, or use markers, whatever it is that you want to do. Right, so that is the card. Next up is the tag. So I'm just going to slide my bits over. Now I'm going to have my tag with the curved bit at the bottom, and I'm hoping that's fitting in there. And I'm using my other piece of lace that I got in that set, and that is this one, and it needs to be glued down on top. Isn't it gorgeous? And then the idea is that I'm going to go with the curved part, because you've got a point and you've got a curve. So I'm going to go with the curve in there and trim off the top piece, because I've got to do that first before I put a hole in it for my reinforcer, so I'll be using that in a second. Right, so first of all I'm just going to glue that lace, and I'll be right back. Right, so I've glued my lace down, and I've gone straight down the middle, and it fits perfectly in that little, well, there's an embossed section that runs down the middle of it, and I've got glue and fluff all over my fingers, so I'm just peeling that away. So you can see I've gone over the edge there. Now you could leave that like that if you wanted to, and it would look great, but I'm going to trim it off. So I've gone straight across the top there. So now I've got my lovely lace tag, or bookmark, because it certainly is big enough to be a bookmark, and I did measure it in my haul. Right, so now the pairs that we did are going to go along my piece of lace, and I have got a spare little pair that I'm going to pop onto there. Just really cute. I absolutely love this. I love the colours of my pears as well, I have to tell you. I was going on about that yesterday. I really hope I can have pears like that when my trees have done growing. Right, so my hole puncher, I've got to punch a hole because my hole reinforcer has a hole. So I'm just going to go into the centre here. You can put your hole wherever you want to, but it's always good if you can just finagle it around and get it in the centre. Now, oh, isn't it horrible when that happens? I'm going to try from the other side because it's really marked the paper. I don't know whether that's due to humidity. It could be that my paper is too damp to punch. Now I have got a poke tool and everything, but I don't want to do that, so I'm going to wait until my paper has dried out a bit and just stick the reinforcer on there, and then I'll know where to poke my hole. And that's quite a shame actually, but it is a good demonstration of how people in the south struggle with their crafting. So I'm going to pop that there, right onto there. That's a shame because I've cut my twine as well. I've got my little bit of baker twine that I was going to thread through, which would have finished it off nicely. But you're just going to have to pretend that there's a hole and there's some twine in it. And now I'm going to stick down my pears. Now I have got the centre for that pear, or should I say the half of it, because I still want to be able to use that. So I'm going to stick these onto here. And I'm just going to have them tumbling along the lace. And then I've got my little centerpiece. So I'm just going to put a little blob of glue in there. And I'm not necessarily worried about it sitting in there absolutely perfect. I kind of like the idea that you know that it's a piece that's separate, if you know what I mean. So So those are hanging on there, and then this one I'm going to put on here. That's my little yellow pair at the top. And I'm also going to make sure that my glue goes over those two little seed holes. I don't know if you can see that. And then because that's the way that my tag goes, I'm just going to pop that one down on there. So, you know, just imagine, imagine if you will, that that's my twine going through. Yeah, and that's stuck to my finger. But I just think those are just so pretty. Let's have a close-up of this one so you can have a look. There we go. Isn't that lovely? Just really simple and delicate. I'm going to put that in my garden journal. Love that. And I love this. Ooh, really enjoyed using my fruities. And as I said, you know, I do apologise about my cherries. Yeah, you know, sometimes I do things so early in the morning, I kind of get neglectful, and I just really didn't mean to put my hands in it. But I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have an absolutely awesome weekend. Remember to stay cool if it's hot where you are, and I'll see you on Monday. And as usual, all links below. Bye.